Mexico's most wanted man and leader of the feared Jalisco New Generation cartel has been killed by the army in a security operation, the country's defense ministry said. Nemesio Ceguera Cervantes, known as El Mencho, was killed during a military operation carried out at dawn on Sunday in the town of Tapalpa in the central western state of Jalisco. The defense ministry said several CJNG members were killed during the operation, while El Mencho was seriously wounded. He died while being transferred by air to Mexico City. CJNG has spread from its original power base in Jalisco to have an almost nationwide presence across Mexico. In its statement, the defense ministry also said that several armored vehicles and weapons, including rocket launchers, were seized during the operation. It added that 3 members of the military were wounded during the incident and taken to the hospital in Mexico City for emergency treatment. Throughout Sunday, there were reports of cars being set on fire and sightings of gunmen on the streets in Jalisco and everywhere else. We're seeing a bus here blocking the street, on fire, gutted already. It says the governor of Jalisco, Pablo Lemus Navarro, on social media advised residents of the state to adhere to a code red warning and avoid leaving their home. The U.S. State Department also issued a shelter-in-place warning for U.S. citizens in Jalisco. A shelter-in-place warning for U.S. citizens in Jalisco, Tamaulipas, and areas of Michoacán, Guerrero, and Nuevo León. The Mexican Defense Ministry said the U.S. has supplied Mexico with information that assisted its operation. Former U.S. Ambassador to Mexico and Deputy Secretary of State Christopher Landau said on social media that El Mencho's death was a great development for Mexico, the U.S., Latin America, and the world. The U.S. had previously offered a $15 million reward for information, $15 million for information leading to El Mencho's capture, all right? Does anybody catch that? I don't know if nobody gonna catch that reward. I ain't never seen it. I ain't never heard about it, but we'll see. Schools closed tomorrow and professional soccer games. Yeah, my understanding is supermarkets closed, airports, whatever. I've heard there was an attack in an airport. Per the Jalisco governor, schools are closed tomorrow and soccer games. What does it change for the CJNG? Who knows? What does it change for anybody when a leader falls, right? Most of the time, they got somebody in play. I will say this. Somebody said the old guard is gone. I don't know what they were guarding other than their own egos and their own fortunes. But the structure that we knew of cartels in Mexico, that landscape has been changing for over a year now in drastic ways. It is no longer the same. The business that you thought was the business before is a different game now, all right? Imagine all the infrastructure changes over the death of one man. Nah, the infrastructure hasn't changed over one man. The infrastructure has changed over a time period and a sequence of events. Those events including El Mayo being out of there. Believe it or not, that affects their political power in Mexico for the next 50 years. Can they build up something similar? It's not going to be the same, put it that way. Nobody's going to put their trust into these youngsters the way they did into that old man for that long. They wouldn't be raising hell if they didn't kill him. Absolutely. But, everybody knows better. Everybody knows better. Right? Everybody knows what they know. Oh, he's this, he's that, he's over here, he's Superman, he disappeared. Nah, man. This ain't a fucking movie. Real life is real life. This is happening for real. I live between Sinaloa and Jalisco. Fact that this is flaring up this hard means it's true. They're literally kidnapping doctors, nurses, and medical students to treat themselves. Bruh, the Mexican people are suffering right now, man. This is sad. It ain't sad for dude. It's sad for those people, man. Shout out Guadalupe. Fuck Mencho for turning in Nacho. Fuck them all, as far as I'm concerned. And betrayed the Sinaloa cartel. Betrayal don't count. Betrayal don't count. They all betray each other. We can't look at one like a piece of shit and the other like a piece of shit because of betrayal. Betrayal is on the menu every day with these guys. It's just like snitching. It is part of the toolbox. So salutes to you. I'm not yelling at you. I'm just saying in general. And I know you guys feel strongly about this stuff. All right? The people in Mexico are the people that are suffering. All right? Betrayal between Sinaloa and this one and that one, that's what they do, bro. They're about betrayal. Betrayal is on the menu. What I think what happens is this was a Mexican government operation. They're going to do anything to hurt the government. Yeah, absolutely. That was my point when somebody said, why would they start burning down the town if he's already gone? Because fuck everybody at this point. Revenge. Once that happens, the U.S. will get involved. U.S. government definitely played a role. Mexican president let U.S. work to avoid terrorists. Let me ask. We often ask this question in my chat. This is for all the new people here today. We've said, hey, you know what? President Cyberbomb, Claudia, she usually, downplays everything, acts like she don't know nothing that's going on. Does she secretly know everything that's going on and is in cahoots with the U.S. government to shut shit down and just don't say it out loud? That way they don't drop on her head from over there. That would break the rule that her specific administration would be, cartel related. We'll see. Shout out Jay Flores. Mencho wasn't the old guard. He was nothing like the old ones, a.k.a. cartel new generation. Facts. Power grab next. Definitely a power vacuum already, especially with the war, especially with the alliances and now the broken alliances and shit has changed. The landscape has changed. They're going to quote unquote throw his body in the sea, or they caught him. And if they caught him, why are they keeping him alive and why lie to us about it? They didn't do that with the old man. They didn't have to tell us Mayo was alive coming off that airplane. They could have told us they took a body off that plane. I'm just saying, why? What is the motive for them to do that? Bro, they ain't superheroes. No, these guys think that these guys are Superman. They get out of shit. I'm alive. Like, come on, man. These guys are guys just like you. They just got money and power, but the same kind of egos. You just ain't got the money and power. Why so many doubting everything is possible? A few years back, we thought El Chapo and Mayo were impossible to catch. Look where they're at now. Shout out Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Absolutely. The next man up. There's always a next man up. I always kind of explain it like with championship fighting, boxing, or mixed martial arts. You'll have a champion that holds the belt for a very long run. And once that long-running champion loses that belt switches hands a whole bunch of times before it lands in the hands of somebody else that's going to hold it for a long time. Did El Mayo do this or El Chapo from prison? You're doing too much. There's enough people outside PR for nobody to have to do this from prison. They closed down the airport in Vallarta too. This is not a good look, bro. Check out this image. Nemesio Oseguera El Mencho was killed a few hours ago, and with that, multiple narco blockades have erupted across the country. For what? Look at that spread across that country. And you want to celebrate that? You're a traitor to your people. You're a traitor to your people. Cartel first, your people second. This morning, numerous narco blockades and terrorist attacks erupted, initially in Jalisco, specifically Tapalpa, and near Guadalajara and Zapopan. Then violence occurred in Puerto Vallarta and across the country, including Reynosa, Zacatecas, and Guanajuato. The large-scale retaliatory attacks is believed to have been in response to a large Mexican army operation against El Mencho. Now, according to officials contacted by Milenio, that operation resulted in the death of the longtime CJNG leader, Nemesio Rubén Oseguera Cervantes. This morning, security operations were reported in the municipality of Talpa de Allende, an area dominated by Oseguera Cervantes. Poor people that worked hard for their cars, for it to be relegated to blocking an alley somewhere or a street. See the car in the back, where he gonna go? He gotta go to work. Now there's a fire. All right, smoke bellowing through the city. It's real sad, man. Such a beautiful place on fire. Yeah, and that's just one place you're looking at, and that looks very touristy right there. Dirty, man. Sad. You think the World Cup gonna change? Jay thinks no. I think if things continue to escalate over the next couple of days, they might have to consider it. Maybe they'd be like, fuck that. No. Tourism money will fall down. I don't think the Mexican government will help Mexican people get all they lost. Guess who will offer jobs to the poor people? The next cartel boss. And so on goes this thing of ours. Ain't that the truth? Unfortunately, someone probably worse than Mencho gonna rise when the smoke clears. Always the case. Again, I was having that conversation earlier. Y'all could catch the replay. I was having that conversation here earlier with Jay Flores saying, You know, you keep knocking. See, they're knocking these guys off quicker and quicker. They're going to prison and being extradited and all this shit quicker than they have been in the last 20 years, right? You keep doing that, you're gonna end up with a 20-something-year-old boss, and then you're really gonna have a goddamn problem. You know, there's a lack of experience there. Do you believe it? Yes, we've been saying for 5 hours we believe it. This is not a movie. Everybody's touchable, and yes, I believe it. They're not spending up all of their bullets and blowing shit up for no reason. Is it true that the Guzmans have an alliance with the CJNG? If so, what do you think is going to happen with that? We spoke about that too. Yes, they had an alliance. Jay Flores seems to think, yes, it'll move forward. The alliance will move forward, but it probably will be different. Or it completely falls apart. At this point, everything is volatile and delicate. Very weak. Those alliances can fall apart instantaneously. They said they're going to start killing at 5 p.m. I don't understand what it is with all these timelines. Here's when timelines work, right? When you have something that you want, when you're negotiating, and you say, hey, man, if you don't do this by 5 o'clock, I'm going to do this. Well, what is it they want? What they want? They want Mexico to bring them back to life? Why? If indeed they are putting out these timed warnings, okay, you're going to do this at 5 o'clock unless what? And we're not hearing none of that. Just the vibe. Do the cartels work together against the government, or are they all battling against themselves? And what do the people of Mexico want? If you ask Jay, and I believe that too, they want peace. They want tranquility. They want to live their life. Do the cartels work together against the government, or are they all battling? There's government factions in the cartel. They all work against everything you think is happening. It's all happening at the same time. Not gonna lie, for a moment I thought he might have faked his death. That's the normal response, man. When things like this happen, I've learned doing this channel for the years that I've been doing it. When things like this happen, the human minds in mass go to, like water, the path of least resistance. He was the untouchable man. They did the same thing with Mayo when Mayo got caught. He planned all this. He's going to escape from the airport. All this bullshit. And it's like, reality is reality. Nobody's untouchable. They want his body. Oh, that they're going to want. It's about to get crazy when the sun goes down. That's a shame. It's a fucking crying shame. Claudia Scheidebaum, the Secretariat of National Defense, reported on the operation carried out this morning by federal forces, which resulted in various blockades and other reactions. There is absolute coordination with the governments of all states. We must remain informed and calm. Everybody, just be calm. Don't worry about it. Nothing to see here. That's her response right now. The social media accounts of the Security Cabinet provide permanent updates. In the vast majority of the national territory, activities are proceeding with complete normality. My recognition to the Mexican Army, National Guard, Armed Forces, and Security Cabinet. We work every day for peace, security, justice, and the well-being of Mexico. Abrazos, no balazos. Hugs, no slugs. So realistically, what happens now? They burn shit. They hurt people. They try to get his body back. They bag up all the next shipment. They get that shit popping. The next extortion, somebody goes makes those collections. And shit goes on. If the shit continues, it's what it is. At the end of the day, there's still other wars going on. I saw them saying that they will kill civilians, only sparing children if Mencho's not returned. They're on a quest for his body. Now, shout out Melvin. Melvin, that makes more sense. And shout out Kilo. Kilo was telling us that they keep putting out these curfews and these warnings and these times, right? And my question is, you're putting out a time, but what's the request? What are you negotiating? That makes more sense. We're going to start smoking everybody if we don't get his body. That makes more sense. They're burning down all of Mexico because Scheidebaum ain't hold up her end of the bargain. They feel betrayed. Maybe. Or maybe they would have done this anyway, but it's quite possible. Alleged image of Mencho circulates. On social media, a photograph has begun to circulate on social media that users are attributing to Nemesio Ceguera Cervantes. According to reports circulating on digital platforms, the image was allegedly obtained from a cell phone that is part of a U.S. investigation. Some comments indicate that the device linked to a close associate, although there is no official confirmation of this information, of course. To date, no authority has publicly validated the authenticity of the photograph or the context in which it was allegedly taken. Well, no shit. No mommy's weak.
No mommy's weak.
Right, experts recommend always verifying information. That's what we try to do here. This don't look like him, but plastic surgery is a motherfucker, but that don't look like him. Maybe his uncle, his daddy or some shit, but that don't look like him. It's a sad day for the people of Mexico. Again, I will repeat, if you have chosen a side and you believe one, you're cheering for one group or you're cheering for this one or that one, you don't care about your people if you're Mexican. Fuck you. Y'all think the Cabreras and the Maito Flaco are happy for having their number one out or concerned? Listen, I feel like what Jay Flores said. I feel like them getting him, they're not celebrating that he got. They're thinking, God damn it, they're on our ass right now. That's what I think they're thinking. The cadaver of El Mencho arrives in Ciudad de Mexico City, right? Mexico City. Heavily escorted, the cadaver of El Mencho has arrived in CDMX as if it were a procession between weapons and sirens, the last journey of El Mencho. The city stopped to watch a heavily armed National Guard convoy. They saw how it escorted a forensic ambulance from the FGR, advancing from the CDMX airport towards the Specialized Prosecutor's Office for Organized Crime. This was no ordinary transfer. Inside traveled the body of the man who for years was synonymous with power and violence, Nemesio Segura Cervantes, El Mencho. Wounded in the Sierra of Tapalpa, his fate was sealed in the air. He died en route, and with him the voice of Mexico's most wanted capo was extinguished. But his fall brought no calm. Vehicles burned on the highways, businesses were set ablaze in the cities, and fear spread like smoke that knows no borders. The convoy advanced like a state funeral cortege, escorting not only a body, but the symbol of an era marked by blood and fire. The image was one of fear and brutality. The death of Mexico's most powerful criminal leader turned into a security spectacle, a ritual of closure, a national drama. El Mencho is no longer here, but his shadow still roams the street. In every burning barricade, in every business reduced to ashes, in every look of intrigue wondering what will come after the fall of the last great capo. I disagree with the word great. I'm sure there was another word that probably would have worked better, but it is what it is.